Well, hello again if you're rejoining us from the last session, and welcome if this is your first one, if you've just tuned in. Um, we're doing these every week. We're doing a session at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, three different meditations. And in this section, we're doing a meditation called the Mindfulness of Breathing. And the mindfulness of breathing is a way of helping the mind to relax, helping our busy state of mind to just settle. And it's in four stages. So what happens is that we follow the breath in different ways through these four stages, and each stage takes us a little bit deeper than the last, so that hopefully at the end of the meditation we've achieved a much more relaxed and peaceful state than we had at the beginning. So if you're meditating for the first time, this may not happen like that. You may find that you just have lots of thoughts going on in your head. And if it's your first time meditating, you might be quite shocked at how busy your mind is. But please don't be put off by that, because that's okay. We're not actually, in a way, we're not trying to change that in this meditation. All we're doing is we're trying to notice that. We're just trying to notice what our minds do, and to have a sense of patience, tolerance, and acceptance towards our minds. Our minds can be so annoying at times. But they're just our minds. It's just what our mind does. And if we fight it, that tends to make it worse. So if we're friendly towards our busy mind, then in a way that helps the mind to just be okay and to relax. So what we're trying to do in this meditation is to just notice what's happening in the mind, but not get caught in it, not get carried away by it. So if a thought comes up, we just notice there's a thought, and we allow it to just fade away. Thoughts are great because if we do that, they just disappear. They can't survive without being looked after and attended to. So that's what we're doing. We're just noticing that thoughts are arisen, and we're letting it go. We're not getting carried away by it. We're not getting onto this thought train that takes us into all these stories and things. And just to say, there's nothing particularly wrong with thought. It's what we do. It's not bad. It's not bad that our minds are busy. It's just what we do. It's how we are as human beings. And sometimes thought can be really useful. So it's not necessarily a really bad thing. Sometimes we need to think, we need to work things out, and that's really good. What we're trying to look at here is the sort of just the chattering of the mind, the chattering that is of absolutely no use whatsoever. It's just a constant babble of often of rubbish, really. Um, and criticism and judgments and stories of upset and stories of success and all these kind of things. And we're just trying to, in a way, the way I see thoughts is like if you have a small 2-year-old or 3-year-old, a child that's just learned to speak. And just learn to take notice of the world. And they constantly ask questions, don't they? And you answer a question, and there's another question, and they never stop talking sometimes. And our minds are a bit like that. And if it was a small child, you wouldn't get angry with it. Well, hopefully not. But we do get frustrated with our minds sometimes. So it's if we can sort of look upon them as this little being that just keeps worrying and hoping and asking and replaying all the time, If we can just see our minds as that and just have a sense of real kindness to these thoughts, these multiple thoughts that go on, then it does help them to settle. If we get into conflict with them, it makes them worse. So anyway, I've said enough now. We can do the practice. And the practice is in 4 stages. And the first stage, first 2 stages, we count the breaths. And we count the breaths. In the first stage, we count right at the end of the out breath. So we breathe out, count 1 in our minds. Breathe out again, count 2, and then 3, and so on up to 10. And when we get to 10, we begin again from 1. Now you won't get to 10, or if you do, that's remarkable. What will happen is that you might only get to 1 or 2 or 3, and a thought will probably distract you. And that's okay. What you do is then you just notice that you've been distracted with kindness, and you come back to 1 again. Start counting from 1. And we're not trying to stop the thoughts. We're simply trying to notice that they're there, but not to get caught up in them. So that's the first stage, and I'll remind you as we go through it. The second stage, we do exactly the same thing, but we do it at the beginning of the in-breath. So in the first stage, we're counting at the end of the out-breath, and that kind of helps us to just relax. The out-breath is a relaxing breath. The in-breath is an enlivening breath. It gives us energy. It gives us a sense of purpose and helps us keep going. So the in-breath is quite important as well, but for different reasons. So by counting at the beginning of each in-breath, we become more aware of this sort of energy coming into our body. Or you could see it as white light or whatever. Then in the third stage, we stop the counting because the counting's done its job. It's helped our minds to settle a little bit. And we notice the breath in the body, particularly in the upper body, the chest, at the front and the back and the sides, expanding and contracting as the lungs fill and empty. And we just notice that, and we can go on actually to notice the movement of the breath in any part of the body. Actually, if you get really into this, you'll notice that you can notice the breath even in the legs and the arms and the head. But for the moment, the main part is in the upper body, which is very noticeable. And we can get lost in that. It's a lovely, lovely sensation. It may create, as your mind settles, it may create a sense of real pleasure. Meditation can be so pleasurable once our minds learn to relax a little. And then in the fourth stage, we try and get into what we call one-pointedness concentration. So we bring our concentration up to this area, wherever we take the air into the body. So it could be the nostrils, or it could be the upper lip, or it could be the throat or the top of the mouth, wherever we feel the air coming into the body. And just really focusing on that point in a really quite a strong way. Strong's the wrong word. Just sort of bringing our awareness and attention to that area, because the feelings are quite subtle, and this really helps us to just go deeper and deeper. And so that's the 4 stages. And as I say, the idea is that by the end, your mind is much more relaxed. But if that doesn't happen, don't get disheartened, because this meditation, all meditations take practice. We talk about meditation practice. And that's what it means. It means that we need to sit down regularly and meditate. And the more we do it, the easier it becomes. And the more we find out that we actually move to different states where there's more to do rather than less. But it's a wonderful way to go. It's a wonderful way to spend half an hour or an hour of your time. And I've just got something come up on my screen that I need to get rid of. That's better. So we're going to do the meditation now. I've rambled on quite enough. So if you like to make yourself comfortable, and pleased to see you all. It's really lovely. I didn't know whether I'd have any company this morning, but I'm having lots, which is fantastic. So just settling down, getting comfy. You can do this meditation. Ideally, I think it's best done sitting on a chair or sitting on a mat on the floor. You don't have to sit cross-legged. It's fine to sit just in a chair, but sitting up straight, with the head held fairly high and the chin tucked in, the head balancing on the top of the spine, just in a really comfortable way. You can actually do it lying down if you really need to. That's fine. But the main thing is to relax. Main thing is just to relax. So we'll start with a body scan, a short body scan, just to relax ourselves, just to get into this. So just noticing how we are, taking stock of ourselves. How are we feeling now, right now? Not 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, right this moment. How are we mentally? Are we feeling positive or negative or somewhere in between? And whatever you're finding, it doesn't matter what it is, it's fine. This is where we're starting from. If you think about it, we can't start anywhere else, can we? Apart from where we are right now. So how are we emotionally? Are we feeling quite settled and peaceful? Or a bit distraught, anxious, maybe slightly over happy, excited? And again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether these emotional sensations, emotional states are comfortable or uncomfortable. They're just where we are right now. And the sensations in our body. How's our body? Is your body relaxed? Feeling good? Or achy? Might even be hurting in certain places. So if it feels good, that's fantastic. If it's hurting or painful or achy, just having a sense of kindness towards whatever's causing discomfort. This is what our bodies do, and we depend on them so much, and they take us through our lives. So we need to have a real sense of love and care to our bodies. So whatever aches and unpleasantness or discomfort there might be in the body, just having a sense of real kindness towards that. The more we fight or try and stop our discomfort, the worse it can become. A sense of kindness to our bodies helps them to nurture them, helps them to feel better. Our bodies are our friends. So just noticing how our bodies move with the breath. You might notice your shoulders rising and falling. And as they fall on each out-breath, just allowing any tensions to drop away. Just relaxing, letting go on each out-breath. Noticing the weight of your body on the chair, or the floor, or the bed, or the mat. Just allowing the earth to take the weight of your body. Just letting go of any sense of holding the body. The next half hour is entirely yours. Chance to just be, a chance for peace and contentment to arise. So we're going to bring our awareness now to the breath. The breath entering and leaving the body through the mouth or the nostrils. The breath inflating the lungs, which push the ribcage outwards and expand the chest. The chest rising and falling, filling and emptying. In a really lovely, gentle rhythm. Not trying to force the breath, just allowing the breath to be there, to do what it wants. Not trying to alter it in any way. So this is the Mindfulness of Breathing meditation, and I'll lead us through all 4 stages. So in the first stage, we're just going to count right at the end of each out-breath, beginning at 1, then 2 on the next out-breath, and so on up to 10. And then when we get to 10, if we do that, coming back and counting from 1 again. And when the mind interrupts us, when we get pulled away, distracted, just noticing when that's happened. At some point we come back and we notice that we haven't been there, we haven't been present. And that's a little bit of awakening. And then when that happens, we just nurture, just enjoy that moment where we've come back, where we've realized that we've been carried away by thought. Value that, it's a lovely moment, and then start counting again from 1. Always tuning into the breath. So we begin with right at the end of the out breath. So each time we breathe out, counting at the end of each out breath, beginning with 1 up to 10 and then starting again. So if you get distracted, just coming back to the body, the feelings in the body, the sensations in the body, and the breath, and begin counting again at the end of each out breath. And if you've got any unpleasant feelings going on, like anxiety or anger or anything like that, then just trying not to get caught up in thoughts about these feelings, about these emotions. Just coming back to the breath, concentrating as much as you can on the breath and counting at the end of the out breath. So just letting go of the counting for a moment and just taking stock, making sure you're comfortable. Just noticing how you are. And then when you're ready, we're going to start counting again at the beginning of each in-breath. In just the same way as before, beginning with 1 on the first in-breath, then 2, up to 10, and then coming back and beginning again from 1. As always, it's okay if you get distracted, just noticing that and gently coming back to the breath and the counting. And not worrying if you don't get to 10, or even if you don't get past 1, doesn't matter. It's not a competition. We're just noticing our minds as we follow the breath, as we count. Not trying to stop any thoughts arising, just noticing them with a sense of real kindness and acceptance. We're going to let go of the counting altogether now and just bring our attention to the breath in the body. So the most obvious place for this is the upper body, the chest area at the front, the upper back and the sides. And just noticing the lungs expanding, pushing the rib cage outwards, the chest and the upper back and the sides of the rib cage expanding as we breathe in contracting as we breathe out. And just really bringing a deep sense of awareness to this part of the body, to the movement of the breath, the movement of the body. Can you notice the gentle rhythm? For me, it conjures up pictures of a tropical beach with the waves gently lapping on the sand in a very gentle, beautiful rhythm. Very, very gentle. And just letting yourself get lost in this rhythm, getting completely absorbed in the rhythm of the breath in the body. And if you want, you could notice a little bit more. You can notice, where does the breath start? Where do you first draw breath from? Is it from the throat, or the lungs, or the belly, or even further down than that? Where do we draw our breath from? In the fourth stage, we're going to move up to the area around the nose and the mouth. Wherever you breathe in, wherever the air comes into your body, the nostrils or the upper lip, just focusing very finely on this area, this subtle sensation of the breath entering the body. And just being curious about it. You can ask yourself, what is the texture like? Is it rough? Is the breath rough? Or is it silky smooth? Or something else? Doesn't matter which. Just being curious about the quality of the breath. You could also notice the temperature of the breath. Is it different when it comes into the body to when it leaves? And maybe also tuning into the sensations around the nose and the upper lip. So for the last few minutes of this meditation, just letting go of any effort at all. Just sitting, lying, kneeling, however you are, just being, however you are, just noticing whatever happens, whatever arises in your experience, not getting caught up in it, not pushing it away, just being with your present moment experience, just as it is. So in a few moments I'm going to ring the bell to bring the meditation to an end. And when I do so, just taking your time and opening your eyes in your own time, moving your body gently to begin with, and bringing the meditation to an end. Well, I hope that was helpful. I should just say a little bit about us. My name's Shakipada, which means she who walks with the Buddha. And it's a lovely name, I think. I was given it when I got ordained nearly 3 years ago now. And it means, as I say, it means she who walks with the Buddha, or she who accompanies the Buddha. And I'm a member of the Triratna Buddhist Order. We were started in 1968, so we're, by Buddhist standards, we're a very, very new tradition. And we we practice Buddhism in a way that's probably much more accessible to us in the West. We practice it in very practical terms that helps us with our lives. And we have a group in York that meets regularly, as you probably know. If you want to know more about us, you can find out on our website, yorkbuddhistgroup.com. Lots of information there. And there's a button at the bottom of each page. So if you would like to donate a small amount for these sessions, a few pounds, then that would be wonderful. We would really appreciate that, because we have no outside funding. And you can donate by credit card or debit card. So it's a PayPal, but you can use your debit and credit cards. So that would be much appreciated if you feel up to it. So I hope that was good. We're going to have a break now, and you can get on with your weekend if you want, or you can come back in 1/4 of an hour and join me again. At 10 o'clock, we'll be doing a meditation called Metta Bhavana, which is really a loving kindness meditation. It's about loving kindness to ourselves as well as to other people. And it's a very radical kind of meditation, I think, and a very important one, very important for our well-being and the well-being of others in this turbulent world. So thank you for being with me in this session. And if you'd like to join me in the next, you're very welcome. And it's been great to have your company. And we'll be doing this every week. So if I don't see you in the next session, or you don't see me, then we'll see you maybe next week or the week after. But you're very welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.